Hey, it's Cris Chico, and if you are a real estate wholesaler or an investor and you're buying leads from pay-per lead companies, then this is a very important video because in January, there's a new law that is being passed that is going to dramatically change your ability to buy leads from lead providers. And in fact, you could still buy leads, but they're going to be more expensive. And if you want to make sure that your lead provider is actually doing certain things, because they could end up getting you in hot water. And in this video, I'm going to walk through exactly what the law is and what the repercussions are, and most importantly, what you can do and what you must do and start doing now in anticipation of this law, so that way you are not going to be in a situation where all of a sudden now your lead flow is cut off, or most importantly, you don't get fined. Let's talk about what the new FCC TCPA one-to-one lead generator consent rule, which is a mouthful. That is really a mouthful. What is the TCPA one-to-one consent law? So it refers to guidelines that are going to require, and I'm going to walk you through this, specific explicit consent from someone before making calls or sending messages to consumers. So that means that consumer must have given you authorization to go ahead and reach out to them. All right. And so what this law is meant to do is to just avoid all these unwanted calls and text messages that people are getting. And so they have to say, yes, I approved for you to send me a message or for you to call me. Now, the important thing about this, and you might be thinking, well, I mean, when people submit a form online, they are already giving consent. Yes and no. And so what this is trying to avoid, I'm going to show you an example here, is avoiding that loophole that is like a long disclaimer that basically says when you fill out a lead form, that like in our scenario with the seller, it basically says, hey, someone's going to reach out to you. And you agree to this, that the fact that somebody's going to reach out to you. So let me explain to you, let me show you how this looks like. So this is what's no longer allowed. And this type of disclaimer: by submitting, you agree to be contacted by phone or text or email by, let's say they're coming to my website, and my website is nationalhomebuyer.com. That's on my website, so don't go there, but let's say that's it. And so I am putting out ads for motivated sellers on TikTok and on Facebook and all the platforms. And then now these leads are coming to my website and they're submitting their information. And so normally I would put just a blanket, thing that says, hey, you agree to be reached out to from my company, but any of my partners or affiliates or anybody for that matter. So it's kind of like a blanket saying, yes, we're going to get your number and someone is going to reach out to you, and maybe one or more, or, it could be us, could be somebody else, etc. So that is the problem. That is an issue. So now what's happening now is that lead consent is going to be more stringent. So now if you are a lead generator, and I know that you guys are buying leads, but I'm going to walk you through both sides of the coin, then you must let the consumer know, in this case, the motivated seller, who is going to be the person that is going to be contacting them specifically. All right. And then it cannot leave any room for ambiguity. So let's say, for example, that, let's say I'm advertising for myself, and let's say Cris Chico home buyer. And so then now if I'm the only person that is reaching out to that individual seller, then I can put, hey, Cris Chico home buyer is going to reach out to you. But now if I'm a lead provider, nationwidehomebuyer.com, and now I'm collecting information from consumers that are interested in selling their property at a discount, when you submit your information, let's say that I am taking that lead and then selling it to you, Joe Smith, on the form, and I have to put in that you're going to be the one that's reaching out to them. Or let's say it's your corporation, Joe Smith, LLC, whatever. I have to put that on there. So, if I am a lead seller and I'm going to grab all these leads and then I'm going to just send them out to wherever I want to, whoever's the highest bidder, that's going to be problematic. And you have to be careful, because the issue is not only on their side, compliance, but also you could be fined as well. And so then, so again, you must specify who is specifically going to reach out to them. So let's talk about how this affects you. Number one is that there's going to be a lot of compliance nightmare. And that's because you also have to be vigilant about who you're buying leads from, to making sure that they are compliant with the law, because not only will they be on the hook, but you will also be on the hook. And the fines, they could be quite dramatic because of the fact that you're dealing with a large volume of leads. So in terms of fines and violations, it could be up to 500, or it could be even up to 1,500 per violation. That means that imagine that if you bought, if you had 10 leads, 20 leads, 30 leads, multiply that by $1,500 per infraction, that's a heck of a lot of money. Second thing is that leads are going to get scarce. There's certain providers out there that will take the same lead and sell it in a platform and distribute it and allow 5 or 6 people to buy that lead. That's no longer going to be legal. That's a problem. So if you're buying leads from providers that do that sort of thing, then you have to be careful. That's going to be a problem. And this particular, the way that lead companies collect leads is that the seller goes to the website, submits their information, and then now that goes through a computer program software that then distributes a lead based on how much people are willing to pay for the leads, etc. But a lot of times when those leads are coming in, then the provider doesn't really know who, at the point at which that seller submits their information, they don't know who's going to get the lead. They only know the lead once it enters the backend system. But at that point now, it's too late because the seller has already submitted their information. That's where it becomes a problem. I think that what that's going to mean is that there's going to be fewer leads. So if you're buying leads from a provider that pulls them together and allows you to go to the website and buy them, and that's your source of leads, and you're buying them cheaply because you're doing it that way, that's going to be a problem. You're not going to have the option of doing that anymore. In addition to that, number 3 is that there's going to be a bit of a sticker shock because there's going to be a lot of compliance that's necessary. And so, with a lot of the lead providers, they're buying leads nationwide. And as the leads come into the system, then they send them out. If you say, hey, I want all the Florida leads, and you're on queue, so as soon as a Florida lead comes, they're going to go ahead and get them to you. And then you might be paying what you consider to be a relatively inexpensive price for that lead, but that's because of the way that they're generating these leads. They're just generating them in mass and then round robbing them. However, if now they no longer can do that, then that means that your cost per lead is going to be dramatically higher, because in order for them to then give you that Florida lead, they have to actually do lead generation for you individually. Therefore, they're not going to have the economics of the lower cost per lead when they're doing nationwide model. So keep that in mind. The next thing is the quality. I think that the lead providers are going to be more focused on compliance than they will on the lead generation aspect of things. So that means that something has to give, right? They can either be really aggressive with trying to get as many seller leads as possible, really aggressive with trying to, sell as many of these as possible, versus now they got to work toward a more of a compliance type of focus, which means that then you're going to have a problem with leads, right? And I believe that you're going to be spending money on leads that ghost you or not even remotely motivated, and you're going to be spending a lot of money on these leads. The next thing is, and we talked about this before, is shared leads. The law says basically 1 lead, 1 buyer. You can't take that lead and distribute it among a bunch of different buyers. And so you're going to have to rethink your strategy if, in fact, this is how you've been getting your leads. So again, this is a problem for you. Next, if you are buying leads exclusively in particular areas, then you're going to have to pay more money, because what's going to happen is that normally in a round robin system, if you want leads in a particular area, they sell you those leads, and then the excess leads will go to the other people that just want nationwide, or whatever leads are left over. But that's not going to be the case anymore. They have to funnel these leads to individual buyers, which means that everybody's going to be doing the same thing that you were doing in the past, which means that now your cost per lead is going to increase. So you're going to be spending not only a lot of money, but you're going to have a lot more competition for these type of leads as well. The other part of it is that you got to be careful, because now when you're buying leads, you can't just say, oh, I'm just going to go buy leads from this particular lead provider, because the issue is now you got to think about, are they being compliant? Because if I message a seller and then now there's an issue with the fact that they didn't agree to be contacted by me, then that's my problem, because I'm going to get fined. But you yourself needed to take that extra step to make sure that whoever your lead provider is, that they have received consent specifically from that property owner, for you specifically to reach out to them. Really important. So, this places risk on them, places risk on everybody here involved. And keep in mind is this, just like there were with the cold calling companies, issues with people that are just waiting in the wings for you to reach out to them because they have an attorney. And as soon as you reach out to them, bam, they're going to give you a violation. This is going to be like heaven for them, because now they're going to be just waiting to input their information on the lead form. The lead form didn't have anything about your company. Now you're calling them, and guess what? You're on the hook for a fine. And I guarantee you, there's going to be people that are going to be making a lot of money on this. And it's not you, the one that's doing wholesaling. It's the one that's going to be looking out for you, giving a prospect a call and giving them a call, and then getting you on the hook. What do you do about this? Well, I believe that now more important than ever, you have to be the master of your own domain when it comes to lead generation. You got to figure out a way so that the leads that you generate are exclusive to you. Obviously, I'm one-sided on that. I can help you with that. Click the link in the description. You can either learn how to do your own ads. We can set things up for you, or you can even be one of our partners where we do everything for you and even handle and selling of the deals. But regardless, you should figure out a way. Either you do it yourself, you hire an agency, or you figure out who's the lead provider that's going to give you exclusive leads that are only for you, that when you call a seller, you don't have to be sitting in the back of your mind wondering, am I going to get sued because I called somebody that I wasn't supposed to call? Now, if you are interested in learning how to generate your own leads, then I definitely encourage you to click the links in the description, get more information from us and our services, and that way we can help you stay out of hot water, but most importantly, get great seller leads so you can start doing more deals.